Well, hello and welcome back to another live stream session here. This is an Ask Me Anything session titled, How May I Serve You Today? If you're new to these live streams, I am holding space for anyone and everyone who crosses my path, whether consciously, intentionally, or unintentionally as you're scrolling through social media. I happen to be streaming live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and also LinkedIn. I'm able to see comments on services like YouTube and Facebook, such as Sean, who says, Hey, Cliff, great to see you. Sean, thank you. So good to have you joining there on YouTube. If you log in and happen to be watching on LinkedIn, those do not come into my system per se, but I have the ability to check in from time to time and see what comments you might be putting into LinkedIn, and I will be keeping an eye on that in a separate window. So I'll be on the lookout for comments there and stuff like that. However, the real magic that is taking place in this sacred space that I'm holding through these live streams is not the actual live stream itself. In the background, I have a Zoom call open here. It's a Zoom room. Anyone can join. All you need to do is go to cliffravenscraft.com/join. There's David Trigg. David, hello and good morning to you as well. Thank you for joining once again on YouTube. But as I was saying, the real magic is the Zoom meeting, which anyone and everyone can join at cliffravenscraft.com/join. If you go to that URL on your desktop or on your phone, it will work either way. You will be presented with a button you can click that will open up a Zoom room, and you will be here face to face with me, camera to camera, and you can ask me anything. And if you don't know what to ask, I'll just simply ask you the question, how may I serve you today? And that's the whole purpose of this live stream. I'm going to be here at least until 2:30 p.m. when today we're going to do something a little bit different. And that is at 2:30 p.m. today, Stephanie is going to be joining the live stream. For those that don't know, Stephanie is my wife. She is going to be joining me at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it will become an Ask Us Anything or Ask Stephanie Anything. So that's the whole thing. That's what's going on here. I have no slides, no presentation. I have no agenda here, only pure presence and the opportunity for you to ask me anything. With that being said, I don't see anybody yet on Zoom, so I'm just going to sit here for a bit. And I forgot to make this little thing in Canva. I was going to put a little image that goes right here that says, if you see me sitting here in silence during this live stream, it's because I'm waiting for somebody to join me via Zoom where you can ask me anything. So I'm going to sit here and begin working on that little Canva graphic overlay. And I'm not going to talk to you while I do it. But if you want to talk to me, all you have to do is go over here. Sean says, Cliff is an empowering force in the universe. Well, Sean, thank you so much. And by the way, what is it? Heart to you as well. So I appreciate that. I love it. Glad to have your comment there and thrilled to have you join on the live stream out there in the background. All right, so let me go to Canva here and elements. Actually, I want to go to design. I wonder if I can pull. No, I want shapes. Let's look at all kinds of shapes that might be available. No, I don't want a shape. I want a background. No, okay. Because I'm not a graphic designer by trade, I am going to go into Canva and see if I can't find design. So where can I go? I want to go and find YouTube thumbnail. And there will be what I'm looking for. Huh, that might be, I mean, that's one way to do it. I like that. I'm looking for some sort of floating image that will be transparent. That might have thing here. Okay. Says search bar is good in Canva. I can help if you want. Ah, well, I'm not sure if I can explain to you what I'm looking for until I see it. Kind of what I'm looking for is a little bit of a background bubble that would go right here, a graphic bubble that would go like right here. Everything's mirrored, and it will have some text in it. This might work. Let me go to this design. So I'm going to hit customize this template. Okay, so what I will do is I'll remove that element. Okay. Why am I sitting here? All right. I kind of like that. Oh, you know what? Why am I? Sean says, my PC is updating or I would jump on soon. Hey, no worries at all. No pressure. I'm, I don't need anybody to join me. The thing that I'm doing with this is I'm simply looking for what I would consider to be divine appointments. These are people who might be scrolling through social media. They, yeah, why am I sitting here? Why am I sitting here? I kind of like the idea of this, but that anyway, divine appointments is what I'm getting at, is anybody who might benefit from whatever could come out of a conversation. So, all right, why am I sitting here? I kind of like that little graphic there. But now, how do I get, okay, so I don't want to click on, okay, there we go. Why am I sitting here? So now what is the size? That's 46. So I wonder if I should change this one to 46 to make it match. I think that might make sense. Why am I, and I'm going to put just. Why am I just sitting here? Okay, and then this text needs to change. I'm waiting for the next divine appointment. All right, I need to get that text to be much, much lower. So let's go down to something like 24 maybe. I'm waiting for the next divine appointment. Someone that actually, you know what? Let me go to cliffordonscraft.com/join. And I think there's some language there. Join. Okay, I do like this. Okay. If you're navigating a life decision, building something meaningful, or simply seeking a conversation that goes deeper, you're invited. Join me now at cliffravenscraft.com/join. Okay, can I change that to red maybe? Or actually, I want to change that to blue. All right. So now I just need to fix that. I'm waiting for the next divine appointment. And let me go here and go over to ChatGPT. Are there any typos here? Okay. Okay, so lowercase next divine appointment. Got it. Hello, Ramon. Ramon is just simply popping in and saying, "Hi, Cliff." Hello, Ramon. And he said, "Happy almost August. Happy almost August to you. It's a pleasure to cross paths again today." I'm going to go in and do next. Okay, so I'm going over to Canva and fixing this project. Where's it at? So, oh, it's all lower. Okay, so that's all lower. It's all uppercase. All right, so I'm not going to concern myself with that. If your name, okay, and then the other one is replace the ellipses with an M dash. Oh, I don't like your M dashes, so we're not going to take that suggestion. And then let's see here. Broke it into short lines. I don't want short lines. Okay, join me now. Okay, yeah. So basically, it said there was no typo. So I'm waiting for the next divine appointment. If you are navigating a life decision, building something meaningful, or simply seeking a conversation that goes deeper, you're invited. Join me now. Okay, so this has to be slightly reduced in size to fit in here the way I want it. Cheryl's getting ready to join us, so we may have our first person here. Cheryl, if you want to join me, just turn on your camera.
Oh.
Hello, Mark.
Hey, real quick, how about give up limiting beliefs? Let go of limiting beliefs
Okay, I'll tell you what. If you wouldn't mind,
as
Mark,
part of what you're.
if you want to join me, if you wouldn't mind, when you get to a location where you're not driving, I would love to bring you in and engage with you in that conversation.
Oh, okay. No, I just thought I'd add that part, but that's fine. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, no worries. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm out again. That
hey,
was just that thing.
hey, no worries. I appreciate it. But yeah, do feel free anytime you're, in a stable location. We can, because what I'm looking to do is mostly all video kind of conversation here. So let's see here. Let's see here. Why am I just sitting here? All right. So I have that. Why am I just okay? So do I want these things? That's kind of, I like these elements. I need to go in and delete this element. I need to delete that element, and I wonder if I can bring in something to give me the right placement. Let's see here. All right. I'll go in here. A guy who calls himself George Foreman says, I love America so much. It's my dream to protect it one day in the United States Navy. I'm not great at English. Please use Arabic translator if you reply. Much love from Iraq. Well, much love back to you there. And thanks for joining the live stream today. Let's see. All right, I need to, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do a screen grab of this image, drag and drop, drag that into Canva, and I will make it, well, I have to do this. Okay, so then that, and then set image as background. Now I can take all of this and bring it down. Okay, so what I need to do is make this white. Sean, I see you there. Let me feel free to go ahead and unmute, and I'll just pull you up on screen here for a bit. Let's see here. I can do that. Why did you not appear on my screen? Hold on. You are, oh, that's because I moved it here. Sean, do you have audio? Oh, you're muted.
Just tested my audio. Hey, Cliff, how are you?
I have never been better. It gets better every minute of the day. Are you here to, for like the Ask Me Anything portion, or are you here to try to assist me based upon what we were chatting about earlier today?
How about a yes and?
Okay. Well, then I don't know that I need much assistance now. I think I figured out what I want to do here. So just give me a minute to put some final touches on it. And I think this might be an interesting way to, because one of the things that I will do is I'll just sit here and read on my Kindle, and I will sit here in pure silence while I wait for somebody. So now there is this thing that I can pull up as an overlay. Why am I just sitting here? I think that might work. I'm just trying to get the right placement. And I think that's the location. That looks good. Okay, so now what I need to do is delete that backdrop. And if I'm not mistaken, I should be able to go here and hit download, PNG, transparent background, and hit download. Okay, and there it is. I'm actually gonna, by the way, you can stay unmuted. I'm just gonna remove you off of my screen for just a second. And I'm gonna bring that, look at that. Come on, that's awesome. Why am I just sitting here? Yep, that's what I want. All right, so now what I will be able to do, that's gonna be an overlay. I have an overlay place that tells me where that is. So there it is. I can just turn it on, turn it off. Boom, boom, boom. I love technology.
Well done. Are you using a Stream Deck?
I have a Stream Deck, but no, I'm not making use of the obvious tool that would make this super nice and easy. But I am doing these things kind of super manually for now. All right. We're going to drag you up here, Sean. Give me just a second. There we go. Sean, how can I be of service to you today?
I wanted to start by saying thank you. And we had a consulting session. You had a consulting session with me about a year ago. And I ended up following your instructions. I got to go to the conference I wanted to go to. It kind of kickstarted my career into a different direction. And now in my career, I'm doing the exact thing that I love. So,
nice.
Yeah, things are great. And, I just really appreciate you always serving and stepping in and helping people get out of their own way and unblocking some barriers for them. It was for me especially. So, wanted to say thank you for that.
Well, to inspire some other people, can you share what was the question you had about attending a conference, and and just give us an overview and the story of how that led to the career that you now love.
Yeah. So I was new in my role. I didn't have a lot of PTO built up, and I was trying to manage going on vacation with my family, which we had already pre-planned, and going to this conference, which was both professionally relevant and personally relevant conference called Creative Problem Solving. But I couldn't afford to do both. I was new in the career, didn't have the PTO, and a lot of other limiting factors there. So had a conversation with you around consulting and doing some creative problem solving consulting and how going to this conference might really help. And you said, well, just reach out and ask, is there a way that we can make this into a win-win? Is there a way where I can present at the conference and maybe do it as a discount? And they responded back with the fact that I could attend the conference for free and they would find a way to incorporate me into the conference. I was able to do a presentation, met a lot of great people, and it was a divinely inspiring time for sure. So I was able to serve at that conference and gain a lot from it as well. So came back from the conference, and within maybe 2 or 3 months, due to the work I had been doing, I was able to then take what I had learned at the conference and in prior years and implement it in my work. And that opened up another opportunity for me to go full time in my work, to do training and development, leadership development, in a career space as opposed to trying to do the consulting route. And so now I get to do that in a career space and with an organization that's growing. And it's a very positive environment, positive atmosphere, great boss, great boss's boss, and just things are great, man. If you had asked me last year if this is where I would have been, I may not have believed you, but things are going really well.
I love that. And so what I am hearing is that you didn't know how everything would work out, yet you knew for a fact that you wanted to attend a conference that you perceived was outside of your financial ability to attend. And you didn't think before our conversation, I should reach out to them and see if I can attend this conference for free or anything like that. And then we just had a conversation, and I don't remember specifically what I said or asked or suggested, but it sounds to me, and if I had to guess, I don't know that I would have asked, I would have suggested that you asked that you could get a discount. I I mean, because what I tend to do, I'm like, well, if you feel like you can't afford it, then let's find out how you can attend for free.
Yeah,
And
possibly, yeah.
yeah, and so I may have given you like two or three different ideas of how it's very likely, given the number of times I've seen people who go to events, and the most likely route is, as you said, offer to speak at the event. Say, listen, I'm an expert in this space. I have lots of value and experience. I'd love to share my journey, and in exchange for a free ticket, I'm more than happy to do that. Or I'm happy to volunteer at the event. Do you need somebody to work the registration table? Do you need somebody to be a part of the welcome community? And what a wonderful way for you to really make an opportunity for you to connect with other people in this space that you want to be there with. And chances are, not only the concern about going and having the volunteer route is that you oftentimes may miss the sessions. But once you're in as the volunteer and you do have all that opportunity to make those connections with people at a pretty deep level, the organizers typically will record all of those sessions, and it's only one more ask away to have the recording of all of the speaking sessions. So anyway, what I love about it is that you were bold enough to reach out and say, I love your event. I'd like to attend. Not currently in a position where I can afford it. Here are some options. How can we make this work? And I love the fact that you framed it. I want to work out some sort of win-win scenario here. And the worst thing they could have said to you was no. But because you did not have any fear, you now have this. What is a career space? I'm not familiar with career spaces.
Um, I just use that term as my career in general. It's a chapter. It's not my whole identity. It's part of what I do, but it's not always who I am.
Okay. So what I heard is now I'm working in a career space. Oh, that's what you mean. It's more of like now I'm in a particular field that I enjoy is the interpretation, I guess.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So is this with your same employer that you had before you went to the event?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
It sure is. And the other component about going to that event was I didn't have the PTO, and my boss said, "Well, you're going to be, you can bring that information back and teach us what you learned, so you don't have to take PTO to go to that."
Nice. So that's even an additional avenue here, and the big thing that stands out for me as I think about other people who might be watching the live stream or who may listen to this if I include it as an episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, is the fact that for you to experience the shift in your love for the work that you do and how you show up each day and where you're investing your time, effort, and energy, you didn't actually have to leave your day job. You didn't have to leave the employer you were with, and you didn't have any vision of how you attending this event was actually going to shift all of this for you, but it all just seemed to work out because you reached out to the event organizer and said, "I'd like to attend." Did you have any hesitation reaching out to them? Was it awkward at first?
Um, I tend to always have hesitation asking for things.
Okay.
So, so yes, I prefer to serve rather than to ask. So I did have a hesitation, but I still did it mostly as a result of the conversation you and I had.
Nice. Sweet. Okay, so is there anything else that you wanted to bring up? Is there any way I can be of service or encouragement to you today?
I am working on an AI training. I am realizing that I'm an early adopter of AI, specifically LLMs, because I recognize that AI is kind of a broad field and it's used more colloquially as AI. But specifically, I'm working on helping folks, just like you did not too many minutes ago, utilize the LLMs in a way that will positively impact their lives, um, and just supplement what they're already doing and create time and space to do other things that they enjoy instead. So that's what I'm currently working on.
Excellent. And is there any way I can support and encourage you in that, or just the mention of it and mark? And did you want just an opportunity to plug it?
No,
Which
no,
is
I'm
perfectly
still
fine with me, by the way. I mean, where can people find? Is the course available?
yeah, not yet. It's being built. Freeaiacademy.net, and I appreciate the opportunity to plug it. I was thinking more along the lines as far as you've operated in this space as an entrepreneur for a very long time. I wanted to know what your thoughts were about the freemium model, where I give out a bunch of information, just train people and teach people, provide a massive amount of value, and then open up the opportunity for either individual consulting, or to help them create something that's more of a custom agent, for example. That's just kind of where I'm thinking of heading with this.
Excellent. What are your feelings about the freemium model? What do you envision happening if you went the freemium model route?
Um, right now it's a passion project. I took today off as PTO because I had extra this time as opposed to not having enough. And I said, this is what I'm going to work on today. I'm going to work on my passion project. And I find myself in conversations with friends, with a mastermind group that I'm a part of, which but also was part of our conversation. So thank you for that encouragement. Um, and I just find myself talking about it a lot, and they're like, "Oh, you can do that." I'm like, "Yeah, I so want to teach you." Just as a friend, I want to teach you how to use this tool that's at your disposal. So it's really like friends and family if you want to if you want some to skill up with the LLMs and use it in your life. And also if it happens to benefit other people, that's pretty cool too. So I'm not approaching it really from um, a business standpoint necessarily, although I think that it might eventually get there, but my main goal is to serve and see what happens.
Okay. So when what I'm hearing you say, my vision is to show up, serve, give lots of things away for free. I don't necessarily uh, need to put this and pigeonhole this into some sort of business or stream of income. It's kind of like it's kind of like attending the conference. Let's attend the conference and see what happens. All right.
100%.
And so in what I'm hearing you say, what are your thoughts on the freemium model? It sounds to me like I feel like what I want to do is follow my passion, create the resources, and give them away for free with no attachment to any particular outcome. And that feels good to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what your heart is saying?
It is. As someone who, yes, the short answer is yeah, that is what my heart is saying.
So, Cliff's thoughts. I can't imagine a time I've ever said anything otherwise is follow your heart. So, my thoughts on the freemium model, as you have expressed it with your vision of how you seeing it worked out, is aligned with your heart. It sounds to me like, and here's the phrase and the language I would use today. It sounds to me it would like that freemium model would make your soul sing. And I say, do whatever makes your soul sing. And by the way, could you imagine me telling you, I don't think the freemium model is a great idea. And yet here I am, Monday through Friday, for the last 2 weeks. I'm here for a minimum of 90 minutes.
That's true.
I'll hang out for 2 to 4 or 5 or 6 hours if there's more people in queue. And I will give away over 4,800 podcast episodes of free audio content. And if you sign up for my mailing list, which you can get the opening keynote address to my Free the Dream conference and online course for free, and then it will follow up with an automated message and tell you that you can buy the remaining 7 sessions of the Free the Dream online course for $197. However, I encourage you to not click this link and go buy it, but instead hit reply and tell me you want it for free, and I will give it to you. That's my marketing model.
Wow. I didn't know it was that I didn't know it was that much. I guess you might say.
Yeah. And
Wow.
then for the last 7.5 years, I've been following what's called the Prosperous Coach method for creating clients. And so I have found clients who are fairly likely to be my ideal client, who can afford, $15,000, $25,000, $50,000 coaching packages of working with me one-on-one over the next 12 months. And I invite them as I build a connection with them and I discern that they've got something going on in their life that I definitely know that I could help them with. I invite them into a complimentary 90-minute one-on-one coaching session with no expectation or any obligation that they will ever pay me a penny for any coaching. And then if that coaching session goes well, I invite them to a second 90-minute session where I will follow up and see what kind of results they got from the insights and actions that they received from the first conversation. And then once we evaluate those results and talk about whatever needs to be talked about related to them, I'll ask them, how can I serve you now? They'll get more insights, more action items. And that second coaching session that I invite them to is also complimentary, no strings attached, no expectation, no obligation that they'll ever pay me a penny. And if that conversation goes incredibly well, and I still sense that they could gain value from working with me, given what they've got going on in their world, at the end of that conversation, about 15 to 20 minutes before, I'll ask them, I'll tell them, hey, I want to remind you the conversation we had 2 weeks ago and this conversation today. These have been my gift to you. No strings attached, no expectation, no obligation. You'll ever pay me a single penny. And here's the situation. I feel like you've gotten some incredible value based upon what you've shared, and you've still got some other things. I think there might be an opportunity for you and I to travel together in a one-on-one coaching relationship over the next year. If that's of interest to you, would you like to have a conversation right now about what that would look like? And hear me out before you say anything. There's no expectation. We don't have to have this conversation. If you just say no right now, I'm perfectly fine. I'm not tied to anything. It's been a pleasure to serve you. But if you are interested, would you like to have that conversation right now? And feel free to say no. And that's how I handle it. And yeah, by the way, my freemium model, if I look at this, I started that in July of 2019. I did let's see here, 320 different people I gave at least one session to. I did a total of 526 90-minute complimentary free sessions. So 320, that would be 640. So I did not do 640 free sessions. So not everyone got a second session. But I did a total of 526 sessions. Now, out of those 320 people, I only ever even asked if they wanted to have the conversation to 183 people. I didn't even propose further coaching because it was very clear that the 2 90-minute sessions we had, the 3 hours we spent together, solved exactly what they presented as a need. And I just let them know that I appreciated the opportunity. And if there's ever anything else that comes up that you'd like to have a chat about, let me know. And I never even made a proposal, but I did propose to 183 people. And if you add up the proposal amount for all 183 people, the total amount that I proposed that people pay me was $1,938,519. And 90 of the 183 people said no to my proposal. 93 of them said yes, and those 93 people paid me $923,000. So,
wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I happen to be a fan of the freemium model myself.
I can see why. Do you feel that your experience through your own masterminds, through the podcast Answer Man, and the journey that you've taken, Lost Podcast, and then so on, do you feel like each step of the way, each of those chapters helped develop you into the next chapter? Do you feel like it was reactive, or do you feel like it was divine, or maybe a little combination of both?
There's so many different layers to that question. The first thing I can tell you, the one layer that stands out to me the most, that really resonates with me the most, is the divine aspect to the question. It's clearly divine. I have been guided divinely throughout every single step of my journey. And that has never been in doubt. And it's what's actually given me the faith and or trust and or courage to take all of the steps that I've made, leaving a guaranteed, secure career option as in insurance, taking over the family business, the insurance agency that my grandfather started in 1937. My dad's since retired. I'd owned that agency today. And it was one of the largest agencies in our area and very profitable. All of that to leave and go and pursue this thing that everybody else said podcasting is dead, it's dying, it's on the decline. I said, I think you might be wrong. But even then, they said, this is a crazy, reckless thing that you're doing, Cliff. You're out of your mind. And I did leave my career in insurance. I started my business full-time self-employed in January 2008. I don't know if anybody remembers the year 2008, but something else happened, and that was an entire economic collapse, which actually worked out to my favor in many ways because there were a lot of people who lost their jobs, who had lots of experience, and they were looking to take and go out and find a way to do some consulting and some freelance work and all this other stuff. And one of the things that they wanted to do at the time was to make a name for themselves, to become a thought leader, and to gain some exposure. And a podcast became an obvious way of doing that, of standing out. And so that kind of worked in my favor, but it took a while before even my own branding took off. There were so many limiting beliefs that I had in that first year, and I only made $11,000 net income my first year in business. So that was incredibly challenging. But all of that goes to the other layer of your question. Well, there are two other layers. Was it reactive? There's a ton of stuff that I've done that was reactive to this, reactive to that, reactive to this, but it leads to the other layer of what you asked. My growth. Did it, what did it contribute to my growth overall? Absolutely. Almost dying in the hospital in January 2009 after my first year of business, working around the clock and being filled with anxiety, fear, and doubt. Not doubt, but like doubt that I was going to be able to put food on the table, but still not doubt. Never did I doubt that I was moving in the right direction. Never did I doubt that I made the right decision. Just doubt about whether or not I had what it took to make it ends meet financially. I had so much of that, and I almost died.
Can I interrupt and ask
yeah,
you a question about that?
Yeah.
So you're in the hospital, you're working around the clock, you're only making $11,000. What prompted you to say, you know what? As opposed to saying, you know what, I'm just going to go back to the insurance thing because that's stable and secure, versus I truly believe in this, and even though this whole year has not felt like a success, I still know that there's a path forward. What was that kind of thought process for you, and how did you overcome that?
For those who are listening to this in audio form only, I just pulled out a wooden inbox. And in this box, I'm holding up about 70 handwritten letters. 3 of these letters are multiple pages that said, because of something I mentioned in a podcast, a story that I told, they made a decision not to commit suicide. These letters, I've got a person in here who was dying of ALS, who only had months to live, and he told me that the only thing that could calm him was my voice, and that God was using me. I don't know about you, but people taking time to handwrite a letter and put it into the mail, that's a thing. Then I'm now holding up a stack of postcards, thank you notes, and it's about 200 of them. And there's still more in here, by the way. These are people from all over the world expressing their gratitude for how their lives were transformed. By the way, all of these came from the first 12 months of my full-time career.
Wow.
I only ever once gave out my P.O. box. One time I gave people my P.O. box number, and this is what showed up. And so you got that. Then you have the fact that in spite of the fact that I did not have my business pay me a single paycheck during the first 9 months of my business, the awesome thing, I was divinely guided the couple of years before I left my career full time as an insurance agent. I was working on it becoming debt free. And so in February 2007, so just less than a year before leaving my day job, I became completely 100% debt free minus my mortgage. So in 2008, my only expenses was my mortgage and my utility bills. And the business was responsible for taking care of all of its expenses, such as paying for an accountant to do bookkeeping and all of the tax work and things like that. The business had to pay for insurance so that my wife, my 3 children, and myself were all covered for health insurance. And that was the business. Now, I say that I didn't get a paycheck for 9 months, but the business was generating income. There were clients, there was incomes, there were sponsors, there's lots of different streams of income that were coming in 2008. But for the first 9 months, after paying for the accountant, after paying for all of the software subscriptions, all of the overhead, all of the things the business was allowed to pay for, at the end of the month, there was never enough for the first 9 months to also pay me a paycheck. But I also had the blessing of the fact that I was an incredibly successful insurance agent. I don't know that I mentioned this a lot, but a part of my story is that I was one of the top insurance agents in America. So I sold auto, home, life, health, and commercial lines insurance. So I sold it all. So in 1 year, I was in the top 10 agents. I think I was the 7th agent out of 14,000 agents with Grange Life Insurance. And that was based upon premium only of the life insurance. And I only sold term life insurance, where everybody else in the top 10, they could sell 3 permanent policies and be in the top 10. All right. So I was in the top 10 out of 14,000, but that was the same year I was also in the top 50 out of 48,000 life insurance agents with auto owners life insurance. And again, only term life insurance, and everybody else was out there also. Most of them were all selling permanent only. So I was dividing my life insurance policies. I put some with auto owners, I put some with Grange. If I would have put all of my policies that were term life insurance with one company, I would have been number 1 in either of those companies, hands down. The other thing is that same year, I was in the top 100 agents with state life auto or state auto mutual insurance, and I had sold over $1 million in personal lines premium with them the same year. And state auto was only one of 9 companies we represented as an independent insurance agency, and I was not putting a majority of my insurance business with one company. So it was spread around all these others. As a result of that, I was incredibly profitable, incredibly successful. I had lots of bonuses and all sorts of other things. And so as a result of that, I had the most incredible bonus in December 2007. And that bonus was enough to pay for the first 3 months of all of our expenses. It paid for our mortgage for the 3 months, and it also paid for all of our utilities. It paid for all of our everything. All of the needs of our family were met just because of the Christmas bonus. Actually, that is not accurate. What I just said was my December paycheck. I only paid myself once a month, or I was actually paid more frequently, but I only deposited money once a month. Let me go back because I want to make sure that the records are straight, since I am publicly sharing all this. But the actual thing is the income I received in December alone. All right. So all of my paychecks combined without my bonus, my December paycheck covered 3 months of my mortgage plus all utilities and all of our family's needs and expenses. Then it came, to the second quarter of 2008, and there was still no paychecks coming from the business. But I still hadn't used my December bonus, my year-end bonus, and that paid for the next 3 months. Then after 6 months, there was still not enough money in the business after paying its expenses to pay me. And I did something that everyone swears you should never do. I went to my Edward Jones guy that I was working with at the time, and I said, I would like to withdraw, I think it was it $10,000 or something like that? I was like, I need $10,000 out of my thing. And he's like, dude, you're going to have to pay a penalty. You're going to have to pay the taxes on this. I said, so, okay, you're right. So I need to draw enough money to have $10,000 after, but I also want to draw the money to pay for the penalty and the taxes. And so how much money do I need total to pull out? And whatever that number was, I took that amount of money out of my retirement account, and I paid the penalties instantly, and I put the taxes on that into a savings account and just let it sit there. But I had my $10,000, and that's how we lived the next 3 months. And then the final 3 months of the year, the business was finally able to write us a paycheck. So that's how we got there. And I went to my accountant. So first of all, in the hospital, we ended. What landed me in the hospital was an interesting story. So I did a 24-hour nonstop podcast marathon celebrating our first year. As far as I'm concerned, it was something to celebrate. Many businesses fail in their first year, and very few ever make it past. I think it's 96% fail within 10 years. And we're approaching, I think we're approaching 17 and a half, 18 years now, something like that. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, we did this 24-hour nonstop podcast marathon. I recorded 24 one-hour podcasts within 24 hours, published them all as I was recording the next episode. I was doing it in the background. And then after the 24-hour nonstop marathon, I just had this pain during these last few hours. I just thought it was just exhaustion or whatever. Couldn't find any way to lay down that I didn't have excruciating pain. It turns out that I had massive gallstones in my gallbladder and one stuck in my cystic duct. And that's how I ended up in the hospital. But when I was in the hospital, more than anything, I was just concerned about getting out alive. There was no question of, am I going to go back to insurance? The question is am I going to be able to go back home? And I definitely had faith that it was going to work out. I was blogging about it and recording podcast episodes as well from the hospital room, as one does. And then I got out of the hospital. I'm like, man, I finally scheduled the time to go in and do my taxes with my accountant. And he says, congratulations. And he's like, what? I said, what are you talking about? Congratulations. I only made 11,000. Because Cliff, most people, it's very common. Many businesses that are started, they don't draw an income. They don't have a profit in the first 1, 2, or 3 years. Your business was profitable year one. I said, yeah, it was profitable because this guy here didn't get a paycheck. He goes, still, you have no idea how rare it is. And it's like, to hear that was kind of reassuring in many ways. But the other thing is like, okay, I am very much aware now, based upon some of the clients I've worked with and some of the people that I've had the privilege to know and have developed some relationships with some mentors, I'm recognizing there's this thing about emotional intelligence and personal growth. There's so much that I've been unaware of, and I began a personal and professional growth journey through all of that. And then underlying all of it was the recognition and realization over time. It was quite the process. But over time, I finally came to the conclusion, or not the conclusion, to the realization that that I will say my journey has been more of a remembering who I am as my authentic self without believing who I am is based upon all of my beliefs and concepts and everything I've developed as a psyche or persona based upon what everybody else told me is the right way to be in this world. And so my favorite thing about all of this is deconstructing everything I've ever believed about everything
Mm.
and rebuilding that. And so today, I would say there's very little in me that's reactive. And I approach every moment that I can consciously remain committed to. If I stay in the present moment, I'm aware of what is, and I can see sometimes triggered thoughts into the mechanism of my egoic mind. And it says, you should be worried about this. You should be upset about this. You should blah, 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 blah. And I said, thanks, Stan, but I'm not interested in your advice. And Stan is a name that I've given to that voice in my head that tries to tell me everything based upon what the world has tried to tell me. And Stan and I are working together. Stan is also, I call him the guardian, my ego self. The guardian's trying to protect me based upon its understanding of what needs to be protected. But my authentic self, my divine spiritual being self, isn't so much concerned about those things anymore. So that's a long-winded way to answer your question of why I didn't even consider going back. It's like, this, dude, I'm on a journey through life. It's a choose your own adventure. And it was great that my grandfather decided to start an insurance agency in 1937. I am so thrilled that my mom and dad took it over. I am thrilled that for 12 years of my life, I invested in learning some incredible sales skills, but also customer service skills and the way that I was able to serve my clients. And boy, was that a great foundation that helped me in such a powerful way to show up the way I do behind a microphone and in conversations with people. And I knew for a fact that shutting off the microphone, stop create content, stop doing live streams, stop doing the coaching, and go and confine myself into an office called an insurance agency 5 days a week, I'd rather die. That's why I didn't go back.
Something really powerful there that resonated with me that I also find to be true is that process of deconstruction of your thoughts and your beliefs, and that rebuilding back becomes so much more powerful. The foundation is much less wavering as a result of that. I find that to be true myself, and that has been such a big component, I would say, in my own success. I'm still working through the self-doubt, and I'm still working through the Stan voice. I'm gonna have to come up with a name for mine. But
Have you
there
read the
are
book?
areas
Have you read the book Untethered Soul by Michael Singer?
I have not.
If you want a book recommendation on that topic, it's what I would recommend for you. Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, Singer.
I am going to download it after our conversation.
Nice.
But the areas that I have deconstructed and built that foundation, I wouldn't say there's no changing my mind because part of that foundation is being open-minded and having those conversations. But I feel very firm in my beliefs as a result of that deconstruction, as opposed to the outside influence of what other people think should be or could be or needs to be. So that was something that really resonated with me.
I love that. And I fully respect where you are and what you've just shared, but it pulled up something inside of me that I'd love to share with you. Is one of the things that I love about my deconstruction journey and then my reconstructing of what I believe today, one of the what I've come to so far for myself is that I no longer come to conclusions. And every belief that I have today, it is not something that I have as I absolutely know this to be true. As far as I'm concerned, there is always an infinite number of alternative perspectives that I don't currently have access to inform my beliefs. And so, therefore, I will never be able to state as a belief ultimate truth. I only observe a perceived portion of truth. Truth, to me, is what is. But there's always different ways to perceive, different perspectives, different viewpoints of what is. And it's kind of like the elephant driver and his blind sons. And he took his he took his blind sons to work with him one day. And when he came home from driving the elephant in the desert, it was covered in dirt and mud. And so his blind sons were given the opportunity to wash the elephant at the end of the day. One of them washed the trunk. One of them washed the ears. One of them washed the legs. One of them washed the tail. Later that evening, Mom says, "How was the day at Dad's work?" "Oh my gosh, I got to finally meet the elephant. It is amazing." And Mom says, "Tell me about the elephant." And the oldest son says, "Mom, the elephant, oh my gosh, it's like," how do I explain it? It's like a tapestry, one of those big rugs that hang on a wall. It's like an Oriental rug that's blowing in the wind, and it's thin and it's wavy and it's like this. Obviously, this was the boy who washed the ears. And the second oldest son said, "Mom, he's lying to you. He's lying to you. He is so wrong." He's like, "No, I'm telling you the truth. I touched it. I was there. This is what the elephant is like." And the second oldest son says, "No, I'm telling you the truth. Mom, you know when we go into the city, the big city, and the big concrete pillars, the columns of the building in the front, and you put your arm around the column, it's like a big column, 4 huge, gigantic, big columns. That's what an elephant is. This is the one who washed the legs." "Mom, they're both lying to you," the third child says. "They are both lying to you. I'm telling you, it's like a rope. The elephant is like a rope that just swings and dangles and all this. He's the one who washed the tail." And so on and so on. So all of the blind sons interacted with the truth of the elephant. They were all absolutely right from their perspective. None of them had any way of truly perceiving the truth of what that elephant is because of their blindness, because of their lack of being able to perceive all aspects and perspectives of the elephant. And that's how I, as a human, am about everything that is in existence. And so while I do have beliefs, I recognize they're based upon my perceptions. They're based upon my understandings. They're based upon my limited vocabulary. I'm absolutely quite aware today of the number of frequencies of light and color that I'm not able to even perceive but are here.
Isn't that wild?
One of the things that I love about amateur radio and this obsession that I had late last year was just learning how the electromagnetic frequency, and I could sit here and tell you, it's so quiet in here. The only sound in this room that is absolutely possible for anyone to hear is a little bit of a shh from the air coming out of the AC register. Yeah, I can't even hear anything emanating from the laptop. And and I'm hearing your voice, Sean, and I'm hearing my voice in my headphones. And that's all the sound. That's all that's available here. There's nothing else. However, I have a little amateur radio back here, and I can tell you right now, there are hundreds of thousands of people right now talking on thousands and thousands of different frequency wavelengths of electromagnetic signals that are right here, right now. Not only amateur radio bands, but then there's the frequencies of AM radio, and there's the frequencies that are allotted to FM radios. There's country music in here right now. There's pop music, there's classical music, and it's all happening right here, right now. And I'm simply not tuned into any of those electromagnetic frequencies right now. But they're all here. And so I don't see them. And so I can't perceive them, and I can't tell you about them. But to tell you that they're not here, I don't know about that. Anyway, so one of the things I will say is that I'm not firm in any of my beliefs. All I know is that I have evolved in my beliefs, and I like to say that the beliefs that I'm consciously aware of, I have personally chosen to agree with them in a very conscious way, based upon the conscious perceptions and focused attention that I've given to the details and the facts that are presented, that are nothing more than just mirrors of the actual energy of anything. Anyway, that's a little metaphysical, esoteric kind of language there. But
when you got into that personal development, was there a catalyst that said to you, or an event or a book or a conversation that took you down that pathway of deconstruction and self-growth?
so many, but I will tell you the one that radically poured. So I would say there was already like a burning ember and the coals were kind of ignited underneath and stuff like that, and it had been a slow burn for quite some time. But the one book that radically poured fuel on the flame of my deconstruction was a book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramhansa Yogananda. And how I was introduced to this book was we were going through the pandemic, and the movie theaters were closed and all this other stuff. And then one day, I had been, during the pandemic, I was already studying all sorts of documentaries on quantum physics and things of that nature, and all things Nikola Tesla. And when the movie theaters started to slowly open up, there were no movies being produced except for kind of like independent films and biopics and stuff like that. And one of them was a biopic just named Tesla. And I'm like, gosh, I've watched so many documentaries on Nikola Tesla. I'm going to go see this movie. So I went and saw that movie. And then I came home and I read Nikola Tesla's autobiography. And when I read that, I'm like, oh man, so much of this reminds me of what I remember about Steve Jobs. And then I came across a video that said Steve Jobs' favorite book. And in it, it said that when Steve Jobs was 17 years old, he read Autobiography of Yogi by Paramhansa Yogananda for the first time. And after reading it, he made a decision to go on a pilgrimage to India in search of his own guru. And while he was in India, he read the book Autobiography of a Yogi for a second time. And upon his return home, he made a commitment that he would read Autobiography of a Yogi once a year, every year, for the rest of his life, which he did. Also, he knew that he was dying. He knew who would be at his memorial service. And one of the things he had his wife do at the memorial service, Steve Jobs left every attendee of his memorial service, left each of them a gift. And he had boxes created that had purple velvet inlay inside of it, and inside of it was a hardbound copy of Autobiography of a Yogi. That was Steve Jobs' parting gift to everyone at his memorial service. And the iPad 2 had just come out. It was getting ready to be released for everyone else, but he had his iPad 2. And back then, the iPad had the Apple Books store, and it had that bookshelf. It was like a kind of a light wood color bookshelf, and you could see all the books that you own and have downloaded. They fill up this little virtual bookshelf. Well, his wife had been interviewed or whatever and talked about, and the fact is that when you opened up Steve's iPad and opened up the Books app, there was only one book downloaded, only one single book on that bookshelf, and it was Autobiography of a Yogi. Now, I watched this video, and then afterwards, I spent the next hour confirming everything that was just stated to see if it was factually true.
Yeah. Good due diligence.
Yep. And then I found people who actually blogged about and talked about attending his thing. Oh, one other fact that I forgot to tell you. There was a time as the CEO of Apple that every new hire that started working at Apple was given a copy of Autobiography of a Yogi. That was one additional detail I forgot to mention. I also had confirmed that as well. So once I had confirmed that this was true, and once I had just finished reading Autobiography of Nikola Tesla, and I had also just finished reading the biography of Elon Musk, and I also finished reading the biography of Leonardo da Vinci, and I started really understanding these people we call geniuses. They all had one thing in common. They were well-read people, meaning they read lots of books. And one common theme among all of them is that their favorite genre of books was esoteric, mystical knowledge. Then I read Autobiography of a Yogi, and that changed everything for me.
How beautiful is it that chain of events divinely occurred for you?
Mm-hmm.
The universe is such a cool place.
It is such a cool place. Oh man, Sean, thank you so much for joining me today. This is pleasurable. Pleasurable. You
Thanks.
like that? I made that word up. This was a pleasurable conversation.
No, I thank you for allowing me to share this space with you. This was amazing, Cliff. Appreciate you as always.
Absolutely. Thank you. And with that, I will say you're welcome to join me anytime. I'm going to be doing many, many, many more of these live streams. And if anything's ever comes up for you, if I could ever be of any support or encouragement, you know where to find me.
Understood. Thank you again.
All right.
Take
Blessings.
care.
See ya. All right. That was absolutely a blast. I am going to hit stop on that recording and start up another recording on my Rodecaster Pro. And I will simply say that I have about 15 minutes before Stephanie joins me for her version. She's going to join me, and the two of us it's going to switch over to Ask Us Anything, or you could just ask Stephanie anything, because maybe you're tired of hearing Cliff talk all the time. Anyway, Stephanie's going to be joining me at 2:30 p.m. in about 15 minutes or so. But until then, I'm waiting for the next person to join me. I've got a live Zoom session going right here. You can ask me anything, join me. If I can be of any support and encouragement, feel free to join me right here, right now. And then I'm just going to throw this up here. Okay, Stephanie should be joining us here shortly. It is now 2:30 p.m. I will go ahead and turn off that. As soon as Stephanie gets in here, we will shift up the format here from Ask Me Anything to Ask Us Anything. I've got my audio from LinkedIn live stream over there going. If anybody is here and you would like to join Stephanie and I, feel free to pop into the Zoom, cliffravenscraft.com/join. Let me switch things over to Cliff and Stephanie. And look at Stephanie. Stephanie, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Say something again.
Hello.
Are you talking light or yeah, you'll probably start talking louder in a bit, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still getting. You were light in my ears because I was listening to something earlier, and so I turned the volume down. So.
I understand. You turned the volume down.
Oh, look, there you go. You're shouting at me now. No,
Me.
you're nah. Way to twist my words. No. So
I
we were
wasn't
working on
twisting
what
your words. I was reflecting your words. Mirroring
what I
your
said
words.
was I
What
was
I heard you
listening to
say.
something. You know what? I'm done. I'll see y'all next time. I want to spend time with this dude. Don't I see him enough?
Oh my gosh, I love your throne.
Thank you.
That is so cool.
I have my step stool out, got my leg on it.
I am very jealous of your chair. I have to admit.
Got it on Amazon.
I know. I know where you got it. Okay, so let's see here. We did actually pick up some new viewers since the 2:30 timestamp here because people, I think there were a handful of people who got the email notification and they were just like, you know what, I'm gonna wait until Stephanie shows up at 2:30.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. If anybody wants to join us today, this is an opportunity to ask us anything or ask Stephanie anything. And we're same opportunity. We got the same Zoom call on here. Stephanie and I both are in Zoom, and we have the ability to bring you up on screen with us. And we would love to engage with you. We could talk about anything you want. Ask us anything. And if you want to join us, go ahead and head over to Cliff Ravens. It's down there at this point. It's cliffravenscraft.com/join. I've moved to a whole different setup here. Yeah. And I don't know if anybody's going to join us. So we can just sit here. We could sit here in silence like I do in my other live stream, or we could make stuff up. We could record.
That's my favorite.
We could record an episode of Building a Life and Business Together. I'm open to anything. What are your thoughts?
I am also open to anything.
Okay.
We run the show. We can choose whatever we want to do.
We do run the show. I think we should we should find a way to bring TikTok up on screen and we could have commentary on TikTok videos. What do you think?
That could be interesting.
That could be interesting. I don't actually think that's a good use of our time.
I tried to get on TikTok earlier so that I could send you something to save our streak, but my TikTok was not loading.
You mean today?
Yes.
Is our streak in danger for some reason?
No, I have till midnight. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
saying I was trying to get it done because I knew we had other things going on today.
I'm just gonna send you a heart right there.
I
So
mean, if
my side of our streak is secure.
let's see if
So
my TikTok will open.
if we lose our 146 day streak, it's not
It's
going to be
open.
because of this guy over here.
The sticker. I'm gonna send you a laughing, crying emoji because that
There.
sounds like fun.
Look at that. We have communicated with one another via DM inside of TikTok for 147 days straight.
Yep. So let's check this again.
Did you like the Ozzy Osbourne and
My
Jesus
TikTok,
video?
I haven't seen it yet because my TikTok is not playing sound. Like my phone is turned up. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's no sound. So
Gotcha.
I'll try it again later.
Anyway, so do you know about the story of Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off of a bat?
Off of a bat. Yeah, that's like the Ozzy Osbourne story.
Yeah.
That's
So check this out.
It continually floats to the top.
You don't need audio for this one. All right. Hold on. Do you get it?
Yes.
It's so basically, by the way, if we include this crazy intro into building a life and business together, it's an animated cartoon-ish type of image of Jesus and Ozzy playing together in heaven, and Ozzy is holding on to a white dove, and he's pretending and doing like a thing like where he's gonna bite the head off of the dove, but and Jesus like, no, don't do that, and he's like, I'm just kidding, and yeah, they're like
And they laugh, and that's cute.
yeah, they're just having fun together. Ozzy and Jesus hanging out. It was kind of I thought it was a really awesome TikTok there. All right, let's see here. Sean McCann put it you like that? Sean McCann put a comment in YouTube. Says, I didn't even know TikTok had streaks. Well, now you know.
Neither did I.
Now you know, Sean. And Stephanie, tell him
Knowing is half the battle.
There you go. Knowing is half the battle. All right, well, let's just do it this way. We will take this off. If anybody wants to ask us anything, it's I don't know, it's that way. Ask us anything. You can join us on cliffravenscraft.com/join for the live stream today. You can type your questions inside of YouTube or Facebook. And I think I may also potentially be able to see your questions over on LinkedIn. I've got a window pulled up. I think they might pull in. If you type a question into LinkedIn and we don't address it, then just know that it stopped refreshing in real time, and you can come over to YouTube or Facebook and ask your question. Or seriously, go down there, cliffravenscraft.com/join. All right, so I think it's time to just go ahead and roll with an episode of Building a Life and Business Together.
Fair.
Stephanie, explain to people who might be following our stream live right now or watching the replay of this live stream who have never heard of Building a Life and Business Together. Please explain to them the incredibly highly produced, super proficiently communicated, high value, high leverage. This is like can't live without format that we have created for Building a Life and Business Together podcast, just in case people have not yet listened.
Well, if we create that, I'll share it. But if people just want to hear us randomly talk about whatever it is we're doing, in any moment, day, during a walk, we often explain the weather that we're walking in, and
or swimming in,
correct, lately, and just what's going on in our life, in our world, whether that be business or personal. And a lot of times, I feel like it tends to be more personal, because there's really no direct cutoff line between our business and our personal. Like our personal life is our business. Does that right? Like that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of ways that people might perceive that. The way that I like to think about it is our lives are so perfectly aligned. So
Right.
the work we do in this world are so perfectly aligned with who we are and what we naturally desire to do and how we desire to be in the world, that it would be very challenging for most people to know with whether or not what we're doing is for personal pleasure or for work.
Correct.
Sweet.
What he said.
And the interesting thing about the most recent format of the Building a Life and Business Together podcast is that we walk around with these little recorders. I'm going to open it up here. These are called Tascam DR-10L Pros. And it is not a wireless transmitter or anything like that. It is a on-device recording lapel mic. So you stick this little recorder in your pocket. It records to a micro SD card, and it's got a lapel mic that you clip onto your shirt. And I have one of these, and Stephanie has one of these. And most of the time now, we're out for a walk, and once we have them clipped on, turned on, all this other stuff, we just start talking random stuff. And we typically these days don't even have an outline or anything like that ahead of time. And afterwards, I come in and line up the two recordings. We clap 3 times so that they're matched up pretty evenly. And then I mix them down into a single stereo file and save it as an MP3 file and throw it out into the podcast feed. And there's like, I think 3 people that listen to it, and it's awesome.
Hey, it is. You know what I love is that, and here is what makes it different than any other podcast that we've ever recorded.
What's that?
We do this one just for ourselves. Like it really doesn't matter if people listen. We do this because we have fun.
Yeah. You know, I joke about how many
Although we do love the people who listen.
We do. I joke about the number of people that listen. Episode 40, which was last week's episode, has 80 downloads. 93 the week before, 84, 93 the week before, 71, 92.
So only 3 people actually want to admit that they listen.
Only 3 people routinely provide feedback on an ongoing basis. But no, think about that. This is one of the things that I love is when you think about anywhere between 80 to 93 people, put that many people into a room and think about the energy that's in that room. And I love that. And these are people who will listen to you and I share openly, authentically about just what's going on in our world. So I want to look at let me just go to building a life and business together.com is where I happen to be going. And it's episode 40 was July 20th. Choosing presence over profit. Why we're hosting workshops again. Okay, so now I'm recalling. We were sitting in the Boone County Public Library for that episode.
Yes, we were.
You talk about terrible audio quality. It's the room echo of one of the little study rooms while we were sitting there after having just reserved the meeting space for our next Free the Dream workshop.
But hold on. The week before that, we were on a boat.
Yes. Episode.
Also, terrible audio.
No. No, seriously.
Did that one turn out pretty good?
Episode 39 is incredibly awesome audio quality and perfect for the format of the show. I mean, it was 1 hour and 49 minutes. You can go on a boat ride with Cliff and Stephanie.
Yep.
And several people did. At least 3.
At least. That's fun.
Yes, it is fun. By the way, just so you know, if you don't talk loud, your audio doesn't come through here. So
I understand, and I didn't say anything, so
you said that's fun. And
that was just meant for me. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
That was my ad lib. That was like not even.
that's not for you, the listener. Definitely not. You don't.
was
That was never meant for you. I am not going to go into post production and highlight just that little clip and do like a 10 dB gain on it so you can actually benefit from Stephanie saying that's fun. Not going to do that because it was just for her.
Just for me.
Stephanie, let's talk
Yes.
about. So last week we did announce to Building a Life in Business Together folks that we were hosting a live event. We had not yet settled. What was that flash? Did you?
I don't know.
Did you see a flash?
I did.
What was
Yeah,
that?
and I don't know. And my camera thing is like green up there, but then it flashed orange, and I don't know. Maybe because my leg was bouncing, I knocked something loose. Not like knocked it loose, but like wiggled it loose. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I will try to sit still.
Okay.
I won't
So
be good at it.
in episode 40, we mentioned that we've reserved the room. We mentioned that we are going to host or we had requested August 29th and 30th. We had not yet been approved for it yet, so we didn't absolutely know for certain that this location was going to be secured. And so, and we also didn't know what event are we actually hosting here. But now
we had an idea. We said free. We said we thought it would be Free the Dream.
Yeah, but we also thought potentially it could be building a soul-aligned business, which would be a modification of a previous workshop that we've done in the past, which was building an online business. That had been incredibly profitable for us in the past, and if money were our primary motivator, probably pulling out something that has been so validated would be the option. That might be the option we would go with. But that's not our primary motivator, and it is not the option we chose. So let's get some updates in here. First and foremost, we have been confirmed, approved for our space, and it is going to be the Hebron branch of the Boone County Public Library. It is a very nice location. It was just built, 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. Maybe it's been
like
longer
right before COVID.
Yeah, right before COVID.
Right before COVID.
Yep. So it's a very nice, very modern, small branch of the library. But when I say small, I mean they have a meeting space there that can host up to 300 people. So we could host a 300-person conference in this space. But then there's also a conference room that has seating for 12. So we could that's a room that we could reserve, and we have in the past. They have the study rooms that many libraries have with all the glass walls. That's where we recorded episode 40. And then, of course, they have the place where they ironically have books there.
Ironically, they did.
Ironically.
Yeah.
So
when the library first opened, I went and I checked out books just because it was newly opened, and that's what you do with the library. But I never read them, and then I returned them. That's all.
Fair enough. So we have been approved. We've got that. It's definitely the workshop that we're hosting is going to be on Friday and Saturday, August 29th and the 30th. And we have definitely committed that it is going to be Free the Dream workshop. That is absolutely a certainty. Not only that, we also have a lot of clarity about how we're approaching this particular workshop in so many different ways, some additional details that we have settled on. This will be the very first time that we are testing out a pay what you want model. And we are not giving any kind of guidance on how much one should consider paying for this. It's whatever you decide. That, Stephanie and I are just going on blind trust and faith, and our primary objective here is not profitability. Our primary objective is to have people that will attend a workshop that will be able to reclaim their identity if they aren't absolutely clear who they are as their authentic selves. If they don't yet have clarity about what it is they want to create in the world, or what their dream is of how they want to be in the world, how they want to feel in the world, or those who do have clarity about some of those things, but seem to consistently be stuck in a cycle of struggle into those dreams becoming a reality. That's what this workshop is all about. And those are all things that we have confirmed. So, any other detail? I have other thoughts in my mind of details that we've talked about. Is there anything else that comes to your mind right now that you want to add?
Not yet.
Okay. So the other things that I will add is that first, there's going to be no sales page, at least for this first workshop, because we're not taking a marketing approach to this thing. We're not looking to pitch it to anyone. We're going to occasionally mention it. Well, we'll probably be mentioning it all the time in Building a Life and Business Together. I'll make some mentions inside of my Cliff Ravenscraft Show podcast content. I will mention it from time to time here in some of the live streams, and I'll likely send out some emails that mention it. And I will also occasionally show up, but not aggressively. In fact, I'm absolutely certain it's just like the right people who are meant to be here will be here. We've only dropped the hint at this thing a couple of different times. We've got 6 people who are interested in coming. Two of those 6 are a married couple, and they're not sure they'll both be able to attend. It depends on whether or not they can find childcare. But so 5 people for sure are interested in attending, and potentially 6. And if you want to attend this event, you'll need to email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. Those are all the details that we know. The other thing that we're going to do is I have already decided that anyone who registers for this, if you don't already have access to the free The Dream online course, I'm going to grant everyone who comes to this event, I'm going to give them access for free to the free The Dream online course. That will be some foundational information. Some of that content may find its way of being threaded through the 2 days that we spend together, and we will be all day. So from, like, let's just say 9 in the morning until 5 in the evening, and both days. Just imagine those 2 different days. And we have also decided that we're not going to actually produce a workbook for this, because we are going to be prepared ahead of time with lots of different types of sessions, slides for each of them, but we'll only teach or present any session based upon what is being brought up, based upon the few people who are attending. We should also say that we are limiting this to no more than 50 people. And that is not a limitation of space. There, like I said, we could reserve. Right now, we have half of this meeting space, and we could, or it's actually, I would say, a third of this meeting space, and the wall could be up, and we could have 300 people in seats if we want. But we're going to do 50 people with tables, and they'll be in chairs with tables in front of you. But yeah, that's pretty much it right now. I have in my mind all sorts of different thoughts of the various different topics that will come up. We'll obviously share the 4 agreements of don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, be impeccable with your word, and always do your best. Don't believe anything, but always be skeptical is actually how he says it, but learn to listen. The dream of the planet, We'll talk about all of those sorts of things, but we'll also talk about very real techniques, methods, strategies, and frameworks for how to overcome and or achieve. So overcome obstacles that stand in your way, or how to get more done with what it is that you want to do next. How to make those next steps, how to get clarity about what steps to take next. That's absolutely going to happen. And I think it is in a little box. I have laminated cards. I think I have about 150 or 160 different coaching methods, techniques, tools, and strategies that I could just pull out of this thing and either randomly pull it out and teach on them, and it would be life changing, or based upon, we say, hey, what's going on, what it is that you want to do, where do you find yourself stuck, and if anybody wants to volunteer what they've got going on and what they've got, and these things will just organically come out of it. So those are all additional details. One thing I do know is that nobody who comes to this event will leave the same.
Most definitely. That's.
And here's the awesome thing. What I can also assure you is that you will not change who you are. You just might drop some of the stories that you have believed about who you are. It's going to be fun. All right, Stephanie, let's talk, since this is going to just be a BLBT episode. What's been going on since last week?
Nothing.
Okay, baloney. Okay, so
no, seriously, for me, so we've walked. We didn't walk Monday. I woke up with a headache, so I didn't walk Monday. You did, and so like I'm just thinking, like, I've been. The back of the house needs to be power washed. Sorry. That's like my active squirrel right now. Because I'm looking at the back of the house. Underneath, that's Matthew's window. So back of the house needs to be power washed. Anyway, we've been home from Tennessee for almost 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks on Sunday. And I was thinking probably on Wednesday of this week, because I have things that I've written down that, need to get done. Like unpacking my suitcase, putting away the laundry that I've washed since I've been home, and just things that I just absolutely do not want to do, and will find other things to do so that they don't have to be done. And anyway, I was thinking to myself the other day as I'm sitting here going, it's really not going to be that hard to go up and put my laundry away, but I just don't want to do it. That whenever my routine gets disrupted, this is something I've noticed over the last 2 years. Whenever my routine gets disrupted, it takes me 6 to 8 business months to get back on track.
Yeah.
I can't. It's not that I can't. It's that I'm not. I won't. I'm I can do it. I will do it eventually, but I'm just not there yet. And I'm okay with that. I really am. I'm acknowledging it. I'm accepting it. It just is. It just is. But I was thinking that the other day, that it takes me 6 to 8 business months to get back on track. And that's not technically true. Clearly, I'm just joking and being facetious, but that's how I felt the other day. So when you ask me what's been going on, to me, I'm like, nothing, because I'm putting everything off.
Okay. Well, here are some things that occur to me. The first, and by the way, we will get to this, so I just want to throw this up here. J.R. Lawhorn says, I heard a tale of a next dream house. Fun topic if you want to expand. So he obviously saw that in our Instagram or Facebook story. So we'll thank you, JR. We'll discuss that in just a moment. But the first thing that comes to my mind is we have an update on our beautiful leaking ceiling story that is officially 1 year old now.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, we actually 1 year ago were in our bedroom and Stephanie's like, do you feel that? And it was water dripping from the ceiling of our master bedroom onto our bed. And we contacted a roofing company to come out and investigate. It rained for the next couple of days. Eventually, they were able to get somebody after it had finally stopped raining. He got up there and he said, oh, here's the issue. Here's some photos that I took that shows you what's going on here. It looks like somebody's put some netting around your ridge vent. And I'm like, yep, we had Orkin come out, pest control, and they put netting around to keep pests from getting inside the roof of the house. And they said, okay. He says, well, here you can see one of the screws that had been screwed in came out. It worked its way out. And as a result of that, there's a screw hole there and water obviously is running in. He says, so I just want to let you know what I did is I put some silicone in there. I also put the screw in, put silicone over it. This silicone is the type of silicone that should last a lifetime, so I don't think you'll have a recurring issue. But if anything does happen in the future, we can come out and
Just a
investigate.
call and
Yeah, but he says, this should solve it for you. That's the issue. So basically, and by the way, they weren't going to charge us.
Nope.
They didn't charge anything. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Ironically, it rained several more times after that, and there was no leak. Not any whatsoever. However, a couple of months later, I think it was October, there was some high winds and with rain, and once again, middle of the night, leaking roof right on our bed. The number of times we've pulled our master bed away from the wall is just insane. So anyway, we contact the roofing company. They come out and they said, okay, we're going to send a person to come out and look at this and see if he can give us an expert opinion. Just so you know, it's going to be somebody that we hire out to do. So they were going to subcontract this work to a specialist because of their workload and backlog. I mean, they're a roofing company that typically comes out and replaces whole roofs. So he's like, he's a repair tech. He can do this. He goes, just so you know, because I know who he is, he's likely going to suggest that you do a significant repair so that whatever he does, he'll warranty it for you or whatever. That was just some kind of passing thing there. Well, this guy comes, he goes up on the roof and he takes pictures. And he shows things in his pictures that were not in the pictures a couple of months earlier. And it's very clear that
and stuff that could not have happened in the time frame from the first pictures to the second.
Yeah, and we're talking about like big dents and stuff is like in this little piece of material and where he's like, let me show you where you can actually see all the way in here. And I'm like, dude, you pulled that apart. It's good. He goes, well, I had to do it, but it was so easy to pull apart. That's what I'm saying. He says, you need to replace this whole thing. And I'm like, well, can you give us an estimate? And they said it was basically $2,800 and I think $60. $3,000. Let's just it was a $3,000 thing. Our deductible on our home, we typically are not the type of people who like to turn in claims. So we have a $2,500 deductible on our home insurance. And we chose not to submit a claim. And we went ahead and paid the $3,000, had this section of this ridge vent and everything all completely replaced. And months went by with no leak in our bedroom. Until I think it was April. In April, another big, huge, massive wind-driven rain caused it to leak once again. We contacted the roofing company that we hired and said, "Hey, we've paid $3,000 and it's leak." So they send a guy out. This guy comes out. I was actually on a coaching call, I think, while he was here. And then finally, I was able to just, like, as soon as I got off my coaching call, I was able to go up and ask him what had happened. He said something about, he goes, "I saw underneath one of your shingles in the byline, there was a nail that was the cause of this. I've went ahead and solved that issue. I've taken care of it. This is not going to be a problem, blah, blah, blah." And he left. And I'm like, okay, so now we're finally good. And so that was in April. And imagine we go
June.
We go all the way through, and now it's June, and it's leaking again. So at this point, I contact the owner of the roofing company, and he comes out and does an inspection. He goes, "Okay, maybe it's this," and he shows this place where the felt isn't all the way up to the edge of the house, and blah blah blah. And he goes, "This is the only thing I could think it is. It's my working theory here." And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in. I don't know if it's called flashing material or whatever, but it's going to go in about 3 or 4 inches, and I'll do it all the way from the bottom all the way up to the top. And if this is the cause, this should keep that from happening again. And I'll come and take care of that. And he did that just before we got back from our vacation.
Just before we left, he was here.
No,
he did the work just before we got back. Okay, I'm following your story.
Yeah,
we had him out here, and he gave us his theory the day we left for vacation.
Yes, and
he did it while we were gone. Yeah.
Did it.
I'm following your story. I'm sorry.
That's fine. So we were gone for 2 weeks, and there were plenty of times during that too. But it was the 4th of July. I get it. And so 2 weeks later, right the day we were driving home, that's the day that he actually did the repair. And so we're thinking, everything is fine. Until last week, it was another high wind-driven rain. And this thing since he made that repair, the amount of water that it leaked this time is like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times more water. It was coming in.
It was just drips before. But this time we actually collected water in a bucket.
It was drip.
But this time
we
caught it.
This time it was drip 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 drip. I'm like, holy crap! Come on, it's almost like somebody left the water faucet going. So I contacted the roof guy again, and I haven't responded. By the way, this time I have not responded to him. I'll wait until I have more. Hey there. By the way, I said, "Hey, we're leaking again." He says, "Dang, I'll reach out to you tomorrow with a game plan. I really thought this would solve the issue. So sorry." I said, "Thank you so much. I'll be on the lookout for your contact tomorrow." Well, the next day, at the very end of the day, I get this text. "Hey there, after giving it considerable thought, I'm still at a loss of what to do next. It's likely that somewhere above your bedroom area, the original roof installer did something incorrect. That can be very difficult to find unless we are replacing the roof." By the way, real quickly, 10 years we lived in this house. There was a tornado that went through like a couple of years ago, and not once in the first 10 years that we lived in this house has there ever been any leak whatsoever. So it's not that. Anyway, the only other thought is that it could be an issue with the siding on the exterior wall. The trusses above your bedroom is likely scissor trusses, so there's a couple of feet of attic space there, and maybe the rain is just being blown in a siding seam. If you know somebody in the siding business, you may have him come out and inspect. Otherwise, you're free to have another roofing company come and take a look. Maybe a set of fresh eyes would find something different. I can also provide you a roof replacement quote if you would like to bite the bullet. So here we are, and we still have a leaking roof. It rained again the other night, and it still leaks.
And now our bed is permanently in the middle of our bedroom.
Our bed is, we sleep now permanently in the, or at least for the foreseeable future, in the center of our bedroom. Anyway, I contacted my dad and asked him what he thought, and he says, well, gosh, at this point, we've still never obviously fixed the ceiling drywall, the seam where the water has dripped through, and the tape has kind of, come away.
It's nearly hanging now.
Yeah, we have not we've not fixed the ceiling in our bedroom, because every time we're about ready to say, hey, let's get somebody out here and get that spot of the drywall all taken care of and fixed, it starts leaking again. And by the way, I will say this. There, for some reason, it's like, why am I putting this off? After the first repair, why didn't I immediately go do that? And it's interesting to me. I think there is some sort of way that God in the universe just causes us to, make choices that are divinely inspired, even though we may not be aware of it. Because I'm not the type of person who delays on big things like this, big decisions like this. But for whatever reason, and there was a season where I was like, I'd sit there and I'd look at that and I'm like, why haven't I done anything about that? I will do something about that. I'm going to put that on my thing to kind of tackle. And then it would just not get done. And not because I was avoiding it, but for whatever reason. And then, like I said, we went from August and then October, and it's like, well, now I'm glad I didn't get that done. Right. And then we go from October, and then it went all the way from October till April. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't get that done. And anyway, and so now I'm really glad I didn't get it done. The only thing is, now this is happening so much, that the situation, I'm wondering what the cost of the repair to the ceiling is going to be. There's still a question. Number one, what the heck is causing this thing to leak? We do not know the answer of that. We do know that I know enough to know now that it's wind-driven rain that's causing the issue. And the thing is we don't. This entire time I've been operating under the idea that the roof itself is not a covered loss. Because covered loss would be wind or hail damage.
Right.
And you've got a roofer up there that says, I can't see anything that would be the cause of this. Right. So anyway, I contacted my dad, and my dad came out, and he's like, listen, at least, the ceiling is going to be covered even if the roof is not. And given how much damage is now here in your master bedroom, you may want to turn in a claim. Right. And
it's not just the one piece of tape, it's every piece of tape on the ceiling.
At this point we're likely to need the entire ceiling. All of the drywall will need to come off, and stuff like that. So it's likely going to be well over $2,500 to repair the ceiling. And we know for a fact the ceiling will be covered, and that would be a $2,500 deductible. But we can't even pursue that repair and pay that deductible and then have the insurance company pay the rest, provided that it's more than that, until we find out what's the cause of this thing. And there's it's seemingly to me that whatever that repair is not a covered loss. And so we're at a loss to figure out how to. Anyway, so we turned it. But go ahead.
Nothing. The absurdity of it all.
So we turned in a claim to auto owners this week, and he's like, I can't come out this week, but I can next week. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's we'll camp out in the middle of our bedroom for, the foreseeable future. No worries. And I mean, seriously, I'm not frustrated. I've never expressed any frustration with
No.
anyone. Everybody in this scenario, including ourselves, we're all doing the best we can with what we have to work with. Let's see here. JR is putting in the chat here. He says, if the drywall has to come down to repair, you might want to take it down to investigate the leak. But that's exactly
Yeah.
that's likely where we're gonna be. So, but the thing is, before we go and start that process of taking drywall down, we need the insurance adjuster to come out and evaluate, and maybe he will see and witness something that is not seen otherwise. Maybe when he hears that it's wind-driven rain, that the wind has caused these shingles to blow up in a certain way, and I don't know. I'm praying for a miracle, that he's going to say, you know what, it's very clear here what's going on. Wind's coming through this side, and it's blowing this up, and these shingles and that wind has caused this to happen. And yeah, I'm approving the whole thing. And by the way, I'm just speaking into the universe. I'm placing my order with the universe. Not only all of that, but I'm also placing the fact that, okay, there's going to be a $2,500 deductible, and I'm going to go to the owner of the roofing company and say, listen, I paid you $3,000.
You owe me $2,862.
Yeah, I want that full refund of that, because I told that gentleman that I did not need that. He assured me that I did, and I did the whole thing. I want that back, and I will hire you and your company to replace the entire roof once all of the but you're going to pay me that money back. I'll use that to pay my deductible, and I'll have $400 more back.
Right.
That's my order to the universe. How do you like that?
I do like that. I do. I love that. So my favorite thing that has come out of the entire thing, which can lead us into, was it JR?
Yeah.
Who okay, is that, was it after, I think it was after your dad looked at it and said, yes, this is at least the ceiling is a covered, is that Cliff comes down and he goes, I'm ready to move. and this is funny to me because I've been ready to move for a while. I love this house. I've absolutely loved everything that we've done in this house, but I feel like it's just too big for right now. Like it's too big for the two of us and our tiny little 14-pound dog, who is right here, by the way. Can you see him sleeping behind me? He kind of blends in with my chair.
I do not see the white Wookiee right now.
My chair is white and he is white, and he's laying on a like white and pink pillow. But he's right there.
Nope, don't see him.
It's a lot. And I mean, our son is living with us right now, but really we're just offering him a bedroom. We could do that wherever, and it's just so much house. We have an entire bedroom that's just become a storage unit since that child moved out and left. And I have been ready to downsize and move for a while. And Cliff comes down the other day and he goes, yep, I'm ready to move.
And mine was, I was halfway joking, and it was only something in the moment, but it did get me to thinking. Is like, we built this house for the ample amount of room that we wanted for our 3 children to continue to grow into young adults, which they have. And we also built this next level studio space to host live events here, which we did. But but the size of the events that we want now are more than what the space will allow. Also, I've given a lot of thought to the fact that I really want our live events to be accessible to those who might have mobility issues. I know Free the Dream 2019, Dale's daughter Lisa came and she was in a wheelchair. Serena brought her friend from Australia and she was in a wheelchair. And so, I want to host events in places where those who are in wheelchairs or any other kind of mobility issues, I'd like to host it. And also I'd like to have more bathrooms and other things. It's like, okay, this was a brilliant dream. This was a wonderful dream home for a great season. And we've lived here for over a decade now. And so we were out walking through a neighborhood that's across the street a ways. And my mom and dad just built a beautiful home in this neighborhood. And we like to walk over there because it's just an incredible environment. They have all of this wooded space and trails. And so we go through there. And yeah, we've kind of, this home that we live in was our dream home. But we're starting to dream our next dream home.
Yeah, I know even when this was my dream home, I knew this wasn't my forever home. I knew that we would live in at least one more house. And so we're starting to dream about that house now and what that home will look like. And so when we were walking in this neighborhood this week, that was on Wednesday, and found the elevation of one of the new homes being built by a builder that we would consider building with. And we both really, really like that the outside of that house. It fits a lot of what I want the outside of our next house to look like, but it fits but you like it as well. Like, it's not if I was building my own like next house, like it would be exactly what I want the outside of a house to look like. But I'm not. And so there has to be compromise. And I think that the elevation of the outside of this house gives us both.
I don't know that that's the case. You may present an elevation plan and materials and colors and stuff like that requires no compromise. I still believe that's a possibility.
I don't think so, because I've made it very clear that I would like whitewashed brick, and you've made it very clear that you don't like that. So I think this very light color brick
I have not yet seen a design of a home with whitewashed brick that I like.
But even on Wednesday, I was talking about like just that house, like that specific house.
Yeah.
And you can't picture that with whitewashed brick? Like you can't imagine what that would look like?
Not without, I mean, maybe if we go over there where the sun is not behind the house, but
so go like when we're done?
It depends on where the sun is right now. So the thing is we would need
it's not 9 a.m, so the sun won't be behind the house.
Okay. What I'm saying is I do not necessarily think that I have the capability, as far as I've been aware of so far, for me to perceive how that house would look in white rather than the cream color that it is now.
Right.
And so I just know that I really like what I see. And you're like, this is great.
This could work.
And you said, yeah. But you said I'd like to see it. I'd prefer it to be white. And I'm like, I'm not sure that I would like that. That's all I'm saying. Now the thing is, we could go in and take a picture of it and probably submit that to ChatGPT and say, hey, change.
Can you make this white and make the stone just a shade darker?
Okay. And it may be possible. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm open to the possibility that there will be no compromise. Because as far as I don't think the house that you and I are living in now was a compromise. When we were picking everything out. I think we were very much in agreement with things as we chose them.
I didn't want the. Do you? Okay. Okay.
What was it when we were choosing all of the different features of this house? What are the things that I said, no, I really want it this way, and you're like, okay. Can you think of anything? Because I don't remember anything.
The color on the walls.
Okay.
But I dealt with that because you let me paint the kids' rooms the colors that they wanted.
Okay.
Their rooms were not this color.
Did you? I do recall it was very much the same thing.
I'd like it to be lighter. Well, now I want it to be white, but then I wanted it to be lighter.
Yeah. Well, and that's it's the same thing. Because we actually have in our home you can see it right there. The color of your wall right behind
Happy
your
Trails.
Yeah, is that what it's called? Happy Trails?
That's what it's called. I ain't very happy, but it's called Happy Trail.
My actual walls are the same. It's just that there are different
lit,
colored lights that are shining on the walls. But it happens to be what the model home is, and I said I really love this, and you said I really like this, and we went with that. That's the way I recall it. And then
I don't remember it being I really like this. It was like I like this. Like
okay, in my mind, I like this is the same as I really like this.
I know. But
so
this AirPod.
That's about the level of depth of conversation I recall having about the color of the walls in this house. Because here's what I know is if you would have pushed back and say, no, I really want this. And if we could actually find a way of seeing that, I might have, I would have likely very much been swayed.
Right. So,
and I don't think it would have been a compromise. I think that if it was really a big issue for you back then, it's like, yeah, okay, show me a color. Let's walk into a home that has the same kind of shape and layout and fixtures and stuff like that. And I just need to see the color, and yeah, let's do it. And that's all it would have taken. And
right.
And if we're having this, and that's the same kind of not compromise. I don't think we're going to have to compromise. That's I genuinely believe that the next dream home will have what will meet both of our desires.
Okay.
You know, somehow, some way, the universe is going to deliver us like this unlimited flow of resources, and we're going to have a his house and her house if that's what it takes.
You are not wrong. So the house that we were talking about on Wednesday that we're standing in front of, I get like a daily email from Zillow of houses that are available in our area. And I look all the time, like, not kidding. I've literally been thinking about downsizing for probably 2.5 or 3 years. And so we had just said that we really liked the outside of this house, but the sign in front of the house says that it's sold. And then I open up Zillow on Wednesday night, I think. Could have been last night. They run together. But the house is on Zillow. I wouldn't want the inside of the house. Like, there are things on the inside that I absolutely do not like the sink and the island. I think that that's hideous. It's just my personal preference. And something that clearly I don't want to live with. Because any house that anytime I look at a house, the first thing I look at is the kitchen. And if the sink is in the island, I move on. And that's a very popular thing right now, but I don't think it's going to last. I really think it's just a trend, and it's not my trend, so I move on. But that house is actually available. There is just too much
Zillow
on the inside.
Says it's available.
Zillow says it's available. There's just too much on the inside that wouldn't fit what I want. This is our youngest daughter's favorite word. That I wouldn't want our aesthetic to be.
Gotcha. By the way, J.R. Lawhorn here says, have you considered a property with acreage? Maybe a radio tower with the smiley.
Have I ever? Actually,
Stephanie
until
dreams night and day. Her sleep is filled with visions of radio towers.
no, they're not. But my dreams are full of acres.
Yeah.
And 160 seems to be the number I go to a lot. I think that's probably because I grew up on a 160-acre farm. That's where that number comes from. But I have dreamt of acreage for a very long time. It wasn't until this week that I still believe Cliff and I will own acreage. Like, I believe that we will own land at some point. I just don't believe we will live there.
Yeah, we've been exploring various different dreams of where our next home will be. And until recently, we were exploring the idea that we would own a home that would be on lots of acreage, like 100+ acres. But there's also this similar dream that I don't know, Stephanie, how much are you in alignment with the retreat
mad,
center with
buddy?
large land space?
Sorry. Somebody started Leo's motor.
Oh, there he goes. The motor. I heard the motor running.
It was a slow startup.
Did you hear my question?
I think I'm pretty aligned with like the retreat center idea. I know that like the way you described it in an episode, I think it was in an episode a couple of weeks ago with like the lake and the trails, and like that doesn't necessarily. I see the buildings that we're putting on it. I guess I don't really like. I do know that I want wooded areas. I do know that I want, some unexcavated parts of, that's the right word, right? That's some and sometimes I see like a pond or a lake, or more like a pond, not a lake, and probably a creek, because there's something about the flow, the water of a creek.
And how
But
many
I
acres?
think more.
How many acres?
Oh, 160. Like, that's my go-to number. I don't know.
okay.
I haven't even thought about it.
Okay.
But I do know there also is in a county that is close to us. I don't think it's actually, we couldn't do what we want to do there, but there's a very pretty waterfall, and it's like 3,000 acres.
Yeah.
But but I see like over 100 acres of this open nature with some cottages built in, and like a main meeting area like that.
Okay.
But like
so we're fairly aligned on it. I think that the only disconnect that I've discerned so far is that I'm thinking around the East Tennessee, North Carolina region, where it would be in the either Blue Ridge Mountain range or the Smoky Mountain range. So it would be forested mountains would be a portion of the acreage. However, the actual meeting space and the area that you're envisioning would be in the foothills of those mountains. And so not that I would actually say the entire property would technically be considered the foothills of the mountains, but a portion of our acreage would kind of go up into what I would consider, some hiking territory. So that those who came to our retreat center could go on a bit of a hike if they chose to do so, but they could also go through the walking paths that are relatively, I would not say flat, but it would definitely be a moderate walk through the woods would be a little bit more than what I envision for the actual very long path that goes through the wooded area. So, but in my mind, it's the foothills of the mountains.
And yeah.
And you're not in, that's not something that resonates with you, but you're not
I think
thinking
that's just
of
because I'm
overseeing
not
the
thinking.
ocean or anything like that.
No, and I'm not thinking. I guess because I have not assigned a location to it. Like it to me, it's still very
Yeah, I'm totally cool with
open in
I'm
my
totally
mind.
cool with the Highlands of Scotland or the South Island of New Zealand. I mean, I'm not tied to the Eastern
United
Tennessee.
States.
I'm not tied to the, yeah. I definitely don't mind the idea of the South Island of New Zealand.
That's fair. So, yeah, but also for me, we could just be close to a mountain and they could still go hike, but maybe they have to,
Yeah,
maybe we have a bus that we go and we
exactly. And I'm
or a van and we go in and hike one
yeah,
day.
and
But
I'm open to whatever paths it leads for all of that possibility to take place. And even for now, I'm willing to start searching for places like this that already exist that we could actually start hosting some retreats at.
yes.
So, and I know for a fact that those places exist, and also Daphne Scott has already sent me a list of a few places to go and visit and check out.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So we once thought about the fact that, our home would be separate from this, but would
It's back.
still sometime at one point our home was technically still attached to this acreage, but it would not in any way seem connected to the actual retreat center. But then we're like, no, we probably want to live disconnected from that space.
Right. And I think that's why just this week you've been talking about living disconnected from this space for many years, but in a sense that we would own acreage that we lived on and we would own acreage that we had the retreat center on. And
they would probably, in my mind, they would be somewhere between, let's just say, 1 to 5 miles apart from each other.
Yeah. And
that's what I've been thinking.
Your Wookiee is back. Just wanted to.
I do see the white Wookiee now.
Yeah. So Leo is a couple of weeks past a haircut. Poor doggy. And his face is getting really full, and Cliff keeps calling him a white Wookiee.
He looks like a white Chewbacca.
He looks like Leo.
He's adorable.
But it just came this week that I have become very comfortable with the idea of staying in a subdivision and owning land where our retreat center is, and with the fact that we don't have to live in the same state as our retreat center.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Absolutely. So yeah, and those, so these, see, this is what I'm talking about. There's plenty of things that have been going on this week. We've been dreaming new dreams. We have been camping out in the middle of our bedroom with yet a still undetermined, unknown cause of this leak in our roof. We have no idea how much the repairs will be. We have no idea if it's covered. We have no idea where our next bits of income are even coming from. We have no idea about a lot of things, and yet we have never experienced more peace, joy, and absolute faith and trust that we each day are doing exactly the right next things that we feel aligned to do. And we have had a history of stepping into the unknown. And it's interesting to step into the unknown with so much trust and confidence This is a new thing for us.
This is new. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that with this comes a lot less of that busy work of I just need to go do a ton of things to and of course those oftentimes produce income, but they tend to be things that are still tied to an earlier dream, an earlier version of the work that I do. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go back and do that. I want to rely on this. And by all means, we'll there's never been a time the universe and God has an abundant number of ways that it can provide for what we need next. And I'm not attached to anything. So we're living on absolute trust. And what I love about it, from what would be perceived by most and formerly perceived by us, a time of great scarcity, we're dreaming some of the biggest dreams that we've ever dreamed. Like
Right.
it's a fun season of life.
It is.
So there are two more topics that are still in my brain for us to discuss in this episode, Stephanie. Can you even guess what they
Okay.
are?
No, I couldn't.
All right. So the next one is better blends.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk better blends.
Straight into Better Blend?
Straight in. Go on.
Straight into Better Blend. Better Blend is
This is not a sponsored podcast, by the way.
It is not, but I mean, if they want to sponsor me,
maybe we should talk to them.
How many times? Let me see. We've had it at least 3 times this week because the receipts are right here on my desk. And so Better Blend is
it's a protein shake company.
Smoothie shake.
Protein smoothie. That's more accurate, I think.
Right. So protein smoothie shop that is, well, you read the locations to me the other day. Like, they are booming all over the tri-state. And we first found them. A friend had posted on Facebook, and I saw that they did. And so we went one day to the Mall Road location, which was the first that in our area. But Mall Road's like 25 minutes away from us. And so to go to that location, it was just not convenient. So we did it like we went, if we were in the area, or if we went to the Planet Fitness that was across the street, sometimes we would go over and get a Better Blend. But when we started going to a different Planet Fitness in Fort Wright, well, it was no longer convenient to go to Better Blend, so we just got out of the habit.
And I went on keto at that time.
And you went on, yeah.
And so
I think we both went on keto at that time.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is I could be on keto and still eat Better Blend.
Yes.
Because
have Better Blend. Eating it is you're drinking it. You're not eating.
Okay, I could have Better Blend and be on keto because there's one, the Turtle Crunch, which is the one that's
my favorite.
That's your go-to. Turtle Crunch only has 2 grams of sugar. You know what?
The meal size.
Actually, they talk about sugar, but they don't actually talk about carbs.
No, but I'm sure you could ask them.
I am sure I could ask them. But I'm wondering if they actually mean carbs because, although I don't know, that's interesting. That if I were looking to go back on keto, I would definitely be researching that. But the last time I went on keto, I had determined that I wanted no more than 20 net carbs per day. And there are several options on their menu for flavors. The interesting thing is none of their smoothies have any added sugar. Some of their smoothie recipes, my favorite is either their banana pudding or their banana nut muffin. And they have zero added sugar. They are sweetened with organic stevia. So they actually do use stevia to sweeten it, but the only sugar that's in it would be from the actual real fruit that's blended in. So some of them have, some of those have
banana or
bananas or
pineapple
cherries
or mango
or whatever. And so that sugar that's there is there. Although I will say that I certainly have researched enough to know that once you take a fruit, I think I heard once you've juiced it, you actually increase or decrease the nutrition. I don't know, but it's not juicing it. It's blending it
they're
into
blending
smoothie.
it.
But so there's some sugar
So about
there.
a year ago, I'm pretty sure it was like last summer, they opened a Better Blend shop in Hebron, very close to our house. We hadn't been yet because it wasn't part of our routine. And then a few weeks ago, we went for our walk. It's super hot. It's nasty humid. And we finish. We're hungry. We're sweating. And Cliff says, was it you or was it me?
It
I
was
don't know.
me.
One of us
It
was
was
like,
me.
you want to go get a Better Blend? And so we did. And now it's like now we're doing it like 3 times a week.
Yeah, it is so good. The other thing that I see on here, by the way, Stephanie, I did not see this before. Do you know they have a food truck?
I didn't know they had a food truck.
It says the healthy food truck, now serving Ohio and Kentucky. Choose nutritious and delicious for your next event with healthy smoothie bowls that are fresh, fun, and full of flavor. Make it easy for you by offering a variety of menu packages, even easy booking and streamlined delivery, and the best customer service. It doesn't look like they actually have smoothies offered. It's just their bowls.
Yeah, they do catering and it's just their bowls as well.
Yeah. But their smoothies is what we're into.
Yeah, and so they are like booming all over northern Kentucky and Cincinnati area. And then did you say they have one location in Lexington and one in Louisville?
Yep. I did.
Okay. So in Dayton, Ohio, like you said that there were some up in Dayton, Ohio. So they're like really booming all over. And it is my favorite way to have that first meal after a workout.
Yeah.
And I consider my walk in the, my morning swim on land. It's my favorite post meal.
It's my guess, if I recall correctly, I would say it's an average of 200 to 300 calories for the smoothie.
Yeah, I do the turtle.
We do the 24-ounce size, so it's the larger size. But it's about 200 to 300 calories roughly on average. The sugar is anywhere between 2 grams all the way up to, I think I've
like
seen
16
somewhere around there. But I there might be some
18
with a little
maybe.
bit more. But then the protein are all averaging somewhere between 25 to 30, and I don't know if any of them go above
except
30.
some of the ones, the fruit ones, like the pineapple. There's a pineapple Dole Whip that is delicious and I love, but I don't get it often because the protein's not as high. So like I prefer the Turtle Crunch. It's my absolute favorite. It has 300 calories, 2 grams of sugar, 2 grams of sugar, and 28 grams of protein for the 24-ounce size. That's my absolute favorite. But I have tried a bunch of other ones.
Okay, so pineapple Dole
Whip. But I'm done trying.
Pineapple Dole Whip, by the way, has 23 grams of protein.
Oh, okay. So, I didn't think it was that high.
Yeah, it is. So because I think they're using a protein powder.
They are.
Is what they're using. So it's very easy for them to get that in there, and it's from somebody who's into nutrition and all that other stuff. So it's super high quality protein. But yeah, their peanut butter Oreo. Oh my gosh, their peanut butter Oreo, only 4 grams of sugar, 35 grams of protein.
Try that one.
Peanut butter Oreo. Huh, interesting. Yeah, but they're so good. They really are. And
So we keep seeing, we've been in there quite a bit in the last couple of weeks and in the weeks leading up to our vacation, and keep seeing the sign on the table that says that they have make at home boxes. And so we finally bit the bullet, and tomorrow we're going to try make it home. So they give us the pouch of all of the powders that they use to make the shake in store, and then we bring it home and mix it with water and ice, which is what they mix it with in store, and we'll give it a try and see if it
yeah, and it's
it
only
compares.
it's they only do that for the ones that
Yeah.
that are not on their menu that require fruit. So for example, anything that requires cherries or
Bananas
and stuff like that, they don't have a take home for that, because then it's not as simple as just add water and ice.
Take it right.
So it's a very select few that you can get, but it's like half the price. It's like $4.25.
$4.99.
Is that what it is? $4.99.
Yeah.
So it's
$4.99.
It's $5 instead of $8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you save $3 by making it yourself.
Yep.
Anyway, but it's something Stephanie and I have been enjoying a lot lately, and it's interesting how filling it is. So, I mean, I could drink one of those in the morning, and I mean, if I was doing live streams and other things and stuff like that, and it's not dinner time until 5 o'clock, I'm fine, and that's how things have been. So yeah, they're really good. That's a new obsession for us.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. It's our new thing.
And
so much so that we're interested in saving the $6 a day to try the make it home version.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And also good news, if anybody's super intrigued to try a better blend, just imagine it is literally it is 1 minute from the location where the Free the Dream workshop is going to be hosted. So
it is.
I can assure you it is highly likely that Stephanie and I will be grabbing better blends. We will be walking in with a better blend on Friday and Saturday morning.
Yes.
Yep. And you too can have a better blend if you come to Free the Dream Workshop on August 29th and 30th. Oh, did we? Yeah, I think I said earlier that we're not doing a sales page and you have to email us, right?
You did.
I did. Okay, good.
But it's good to say it again in case somebody didn't hear.
Yeah, email address cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. The other topic is just we're going out on another date night tonight, and I thought maybe you would just briefly share where we're going on our date tonight.
Yeah, so tonight we are going to an event called Music Under the Stars. It is held in the Green Acres Foundation up in Indian Hill, which is a suburb of Cincinnati. And we went to the one in June. In June, there it was the brass quintet from the Cincinnati Orchestra. Is that right?
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yep, it was the
Cincinnati
brass
something
section.
or other.
It was the brass section.
But it was the brass quintet, and they came and they played all kinds of different music. They explained the music that they were playing. They played everything from like classics to jazz. It was such a good time. And when we were leaving, I went ahead and purchased our tickets for July. Tonight, I'm even more excited because it's strings, not brass, and they're doing music from I think it's described as some of the most prolific songwriters.
Okay, singer-songwriters
in history. It doesn't say singer-songwriters. It says songwriters.
Okay.
So, but I'm super excited, and we heard about this because our daughter works for Green Acres Foundation, and she was like, "Hey, are you like back in June?" She's like, "Hey, are you interested in coming to my event?" And so we did. And the June one, I went because I was supporting my kid, um, but now I'm going because I enjoy it. And then in August, I'm super excited. I've already bought our tickets for August. Did you know this?
I figured you would, so I didn't know that you did, but yeah.
But I've already bought our tickets for August, and August is also strings. But they're doing 90s music. Sorry, there's a hair on my mic. It's tickling my lips when I talked. They're doing 90s music, and so I'm looking forward to that one as well. So tonight we'll go up and um the strings will play with the cicadas, and maybe they won't be, since they were so heavy last month, maybe they won't be as heavy up there this month. We'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah, but we'll go up and we'll do that. And we'll enjoy some music and see Megan and have some snacks and have a great time in something that we would not have done had Megan not said, "Hey, do you want to come try my event last month?" Like,
Yeah.
this is not something I would have found on my own.
Right. Awesome.
But I like stepping outside of the box. I like stepping outside of the normal of what we would have done. Like, so many of our dates in the first 28 years of our marriage were just like dinner and a movie. And we don't do that anymore. Like, our dates are just whatever. We like the other night we went and we got ice cream, and then we went to your parents' new house, which they do not live in yet, and sat on their back patio and read. Now we're each doing our own separate thing, but that was still a little date. Like, we're talking in between our reading. And we've gone on drives, and was that what that was? I don't know. Anyway, I just got a text message that I think was a reminder for tonight's concert.
Okay.
But yeah, just breaking out of that habit of going to dinner and a movie and trying new things. I feel like that's what our date nights are at this stage of our life.
Yeah. All right, that's
Excuse
it.
me.
I think we have exceeded the amount of time that we thought we would be here for the live stream.
Okay.
And we certainly have a significant amount of content that has been included in this episode of the Building a Life and Business Together podcast. Don't get used to us being behind the microphones here. We are likely going to continue to record our walks in the neighborhood, and we appreciate you so much. Until next time, we encourage you to
Build your life and business together.
all right. Bye-bye.
Bye.